Hey everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Uncle and Nephew Geek Out here on A Plus Productions. I am Boris, and as always, I am joined by my nephew, Alex.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. It's you've been a little busy. That's why we haven't had an episode in a little while. School's keeping you nice and busy, which is good. Keeps you off the streets. It keeps you honest. It keeps you a lot of stuff. But here we are. Here we are back on A Plus Productions, talking all things geek, talking Peacemaker. We have quite a few episodes to discuss. So we're going to try to keep this episode a little short. Well, you know, not long, but we will geek out just a little enough. And then we're going to talk all things Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 4, 5, and 6, and 7 as we prepare for the season finale this Thursday. Alex, number one, right away. Actually, you know what? We'll talk Peacemaker in a little bit. Let's geek out in a little bit. Let's talk about gaming and console because I think, well, the console wars are officially done. And I think Xbox is getting closer and closer to waving a white flag.
Yeah, I think so. I think between the announcement of another set of price increases for their consoles and the price of Xbox Game Pass increasing, it's kind of like I think a lot of people are struggling to see the value of going with Xbox over really anyone else.
Yeah. It's interesting to say the least what's happening there, right? Like, whoa, yeah, I personally don't get it. Like, you saw the writing on the wall, but I thought that for sure at some point their Game Pass was going to be kind of like, you know, the thing that they do, right? Their cloud gaming type of thing. But it honestly seems like they're almost ready to give up.
I think so. I think this generation of Xbox has been very weird. You know, this generation has really focused on cloud gaming and games as a service, or at least a gaming service. And I've always been of the mindset that I don't want that. Yeah. Like, I don't mind having services where, like Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus, where, you know, you subscribe to this service and you can play a selection of games. But I think their strategy of putting new titles, new releases on Game Pass day one, how do they make money from that? Like, it's generally not great for developers. And I also think that it's not great from a consumer point of view either, because if something were to happen to Xbox and they were to shut down, you don't own any of that. Like, you will not have access to that if that happens.
Well, I think
you know what I mean?
What's happening, right? I think this is what people are realizing is, oh shit, I'm not going to have access to my games in a little bit if something were to happen. And the reality of something happening is coming closer and closer. So here's my issue with it, right? It was announced like today or recently that the PS4 servers are coming down, right? Like yeah, you're being forced to stay up to date latest console and what happens with the DRM rights of the games that you technically don't own. Like, I have games that I bought for PS3 that were for PS1 and stuff, like in the emulator stuff. Xenogears, for example. Xenogears, for example, I bought on PS3, but they've never released that since that console. So it's like, okay, I paid money for this, and yeah, it wasn't a lot of money, but it doesn't matter. I paid money, and I don't own it, but it's there in my account per se.
Yeah, I think the one thing that Xbox has really done well that I think everyone else needs to look at is backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Now, it's clearly not that hard to do, since on PS Plus you can already stream PS3 games.
Yeah.
You just can't play them natively, which to me is like, what are we doing? Yeah. Like, PS3 emulation was so far behind for so many years, but even that's caught up to the point where on most modern machines, on computers, you can run PS3 games perfectly fine. Like, and they run well. Why hasn't PlayStation caught up? Like, why is it so hard? I went out and bought a used PS3 just to play PS3 games, and I'm having a great time.
Of course, yeah. But I gotta send you those games at some point. I still have that box of PS3 games just with your name on them. You have a lot of them already too. Like when
this weekend I went out to buy Arkham Asylum for the PS3 and the original Infamous for like $15. So,
Nice.
bargain.
Yeah, very good actually. Considering that quote unquote retro gaming is so expensive, right? Like you're essentially paying regular price for retro gaming.
Yeah, but like the PS3 and the Xbox 360 are like on the cusp of retro gaming. So a lot of those games you can get for dirt cheap.
Yeah, you're right. So going back to what we were talking about, like this whole DRM stuff, the whole digital rights management and the whole owning game stuff is really going to be an issue. And I think it was you who said it to me, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And this is all putting up a very strong case towards physical copies of games again.
Yeah. I think I sent that to you last week.
It was the day that the price increase happened with Game Pass.
Yeah, because outside of PC, because obviously I get it through Steam or Epic Games, you kind of have to do that nowadays. But with PlayStation, I always try to get the big games physically because I know that they can't really take that away with an asterisk because nowadays they still
close
can.
the service and turn off the servers, but they can't take away the fact that you own this game.
Yes and no, because now it's a murky.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird now because there's a lot of of discs now.
Yes.
Sorry, you go.
I was just gonna say, let's when as you give your answer, let's talk about the Switch 2 and how they do that with their digital cartridge.
Yeah, their game key cards have. There's been a pretty much unanimous negative reaction to them because they're essentially digital games, but they have a cartridge. So if the servers for the Nintendo Switch 2 ever go down in, 15, 20 years, that game goes down with it if it's not already installed locally. Like, you will not be able to reinstall that because the game is not on the cartridge. And there's a lot of PS5 and Xbox games that are like that as well. Doom the Dark Ages, what's on the disc is like 80 megabytes. It's nothing. The entire game is pretty much a digital download.
It's like an install.
God, I would rather have the 2-disc install than that. Please bring that back. Anything.
Yeah.
Like, I hate this idea, this digital era that we're in, because ultimately it's taken ownership away from a lot of players.
Yeah.
You have movements like Stop Killing Games in Europe, which is basically trying to force European legislation so that companies can't shut down the servers for a game after the fact, making it shovelware or what is it, abandonware, where it's like it just dies.
What's interesting about that is I'm surprised the EU hasn't stepped up because the EU is typically way ahead of North America in terms of legislation. Also, they don't have the same lobbyists and stuff like that, right? That we do here in North America. This is why privacy and anti-monopoly and things like that always happen in Europe to these big companies.
Yeah, and I think it's about time because I think the game that was used as an example was The Crew from Ubisoft. Single player game, but it connected to the internet. And so when they shut down the servers, that was it. Like, you cannot play that game anymore. It's done. Like, even if you own it physically, you can't do that. And so it's creating this kind of, we're in this weird middle ground where physical games are still around, but they're kind of digital games disguised as physical games. And I think this change with Xbox, I think it's going to bring to light a lot of the issues with this generation. And even with the PS4, because that's really when all this started.
Yep. It's crazy. Like it's scary because anything can change. Like, your company could be sold and we don't know what the new owners want to do, i.e. Electronic Arts.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is that if they want to have these services, I'm not necessarily against them, but I think the way they're handled right now is not great.
I honestly do believe that there's going to need to be legislation put in place in order for a consumer protection for gamers. That's what's going to end up happening. There's going to be a class action lawsuit at all these companies from every fucking gamer in the fucking world, and this is going to open what I like to call Pandora's box, and we're going to get legislation on gaming for, like you said, keeping services and servers and what have you alive. As long as they sell digital copies, they're gonna need to keep these servers alive. Like that's the only solution here. Or else, like you said, you're literally buying air. You're literally buying nothing. You're renting games for a period of time from these companies for $100 plus.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like before, I mean, the Xbox Game Pass was never really worth it to me because I knew I wasn't going to get my money's worth out of it. Just flat out. I wasn't going to do that. So I never got it. PlayStation Plus is a little cheaper, so it was easier to justify to myself to get it. But Xbox Game Pass originally in Canadian dollars, I have, American,
whatever,
whole other beast. Whatever, exactly. In Canadian dollars, it would buy you it would get you roughly 4 AAA games, like new releases. So if you were playing that many AAA games that year, or if not more, then it was worth it because, it was worth it. You could justify it, especially if you didn't care about owning it and you're just going to play it once and that's it. Now it's so much harder to justify it to yourself because it's that much more expensive. Like how do you justify like $400+ Canadian a year?
It's hard to.
It's impossible. That's almost the price of an Xbox if it wasn't for the fact that they raised the price.
Right? That's the scary part at this point. It's just not worth it. But here's the problem, and this is where services and subscriptions, right? A lot of people don't realize how much money they're actually spending on a subscription, right? A lot of people sometimes forget, and these companies want you to forget that you even signed up for whatever service.
Especially because these services get you with tiers, where the basic tier, it's not cheap, but it's also not expensive. So you're like, okay, it's the basic tier. But then you look at what it gives you, and it's like, it's not that much. I'll get the next one. I'll get the next one up. With Game Pass, it's so easy to just get Game Pass Ultimate because it's the whole thing. $20 a month. $20.
What's $20 a month? That's
exactly
that's a lunch or a dinner going out.
Exactly. But then at the end of the year, it's like, oh, hold on, that's actually quite a bit of money, and now it's $30 a month.
Mm-hmm.
No way. There's no way.
No, exactly.
Like it's so bad, and I think this price increase for Xbox Game Pass would be bad enough if it wasn't for the fact that literally a week before they raised the price of the console itself to the point where now the Xbox Series S, their lowest tier of this new generation, is as expensive as the PS5.
Yeah.
And that's not the discless version.
Exactly.
That's the disc version.
The disc version. What's insane is that as you know, last year when I had the broken ankle and I was just laying in bed, bored, out of my mind, the amount of times that I'm like, I'm going to buy an Xbox. You know what? I'm going to buy an Xbox. And I always said, you know what? I'm just going to wait. Now there's no fucking way I'm going to do it. No way in hell am I going to do it. And that's just an Xbox. Like electronics in general, like the camera I was looking at, no way I'm going to buy it now. Like everything is just so effing expensive, and these companies have the fucking cojones to raise the prices constantly, thinking that we're just stupid. Times are tough already. You know what the part that I just don't understand is times are tough, and these companies are banking on us just like continuing being idiots and opening up our wallets. This is going to backfire huge. Right? And the timing of everything, even with this EA purchase, the $55 billion purchase, that was announced on September 29th, going to be closed mid-2026, with Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, with Silver Lake and Affinity Partners, which is Jared Kushner's company. A lot of people could very well say, fuck you to a lot of these gaming companies at this point. Fuck you, EA. Fuck you, Xbox. Fuck you, Sony. Fuck you. I have a feeling that 2026 is going to be a rough year for gaming companies.
For big ones, yes, but I think a lot of smaller companies this year have found enormous success because AAA companies keep fucking up.
Well, you know what's going to happen, Alex? How many developers do you think are already planning on getting the fuck out of EA before this thing is closed and opening up their own shop?
Oh, I'm sure. They're looking at all these, especially the smaller companies at EA. I'm sure they're looking at Annapurna, publishers like that, where they publish smaller games, smaller teams, but that game's actually going to get made.
Yep.
And it's a damn shame if it wasn't for the fact that it's consequences of their own choices. It's like these are the choices that you made. Like recently, I was looking, not for right now, but in the future, I was looking to get a handheld PC because I see them all the time. They're super cool. I don't always have the time to actually sit at my computer and play something. So having something where I can, just take it in the living room or, just play for 10, 20 minutes when I have time, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
And right now, the Steam Deck and a couple other ones are really the only ones where it's like, it's affordable. It's, it's good enough for what you need it to be. And it's a decent price. It's not too bad. But there's two new ones that are coming out this month, and they're the big ones. It's the Lenovo Legion Go 2,
yes,
which is the successor to the original Legion Go, and I'm going to say this wrong, the ROG Xbox Ally.
That's the one that I wanted, but now no fucking way.
No, absolutely not. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, usually PC handhelds go between like $500 and like $800 US, roughly. Okay. The Xbox ROG Ally is $1,000 for the more premium version, which really, if you're going to get it, that's the one you're going to get because the less premium one is not great. You can literally just get a different handheld at that price, which is going to be better. And then the Legion Go 2 is $1,300. Like, I know the fact that the processor is better and it has more, graphics cores, and what doesn't matter. It's $1,300. That's so much. You can build a computer for that. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now part of it, I get that part of it is not entirely Xbox or Lenovo's fault. Right? The chips that they're using, which is really the reason these handhelds exist, is the Ryzen Zen 2 processor, Zen 2 Extreme processor, sorry. And it's one of Ryzen's new mobile processors for laptops and these portable gaming machines. And that processor is expensive. It is a huge price increase from the previous generation. And there's tariffs in the US. It's just a mess. But then they should just wait to release this, because at this point, I don't think these are going to sell that well. It's way too expensive. People are already struggling. And just last year, Lenovo released their Legion Go S, which is, it doesn't have removable controllers on the side, but it's still a decently powerful machine. They have one that comes with both Windows and SteamOS. The SteamOS one is cheaper because it's Linux and they don't have to pay a license for that. But you can just get that instead. And there might be a bit of a performance difference between the two, but not enough to justify a $500 price increase. Like, that's ridiculous.
It really is. It is crazy, to say the least. Like, just absolutely insane. I don't get it. I don't get it whatsoever. It's stupid. Pissing me off more and more the more I think about it, right? Like, this whole EA thing is already pissing me off enough with the group that bought it. Like, it's just like, and then I actually thought about this, Alex. The last EA game I played was what, right?
Yeah. To be honest, for me, I don't think that was EA. That was Square Enix.
Yeah, that was Square Enix. Yeah, not even. Frick.
It's even been longer. For me, probably the most recent one was the Dead Space remake, and just because I'm a sucker for horror, and I was really excited for that series. And it seems like EA's axed that too again. So I really have no reason to stick with that company.
Right. Now
Motive is working on this Iron Man game, which who knows when that's going to come out. Like, I have zero faith in EA. Like, just an absolutely ridiculous company.
We are more likely to get a good Assassin's Creed game before we purchase another EA game at this point.
I have faith in Assassin's Creed Hex. I can't even say that about any EA game ever.
I don't even know what
that's
EA
on
has.
the docket.
Honestly, I don't even know what EA has planned. Like, do they? I guess Mass Effect. I
mean, they are making another Mass Effect, but BioWare's a joke nowadays.
Yeah,
like, I don't even have faith that's going to be.
That's what I mean. Crazy.
Oh, it's crazy. Like the gaming industry is it's in a weird state, and yet there's still good games releasing. You know, this year from smaller publishers, you had Expedition 33, you had Silksong, you had Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and even on the AAA side, you had like Death Stranding 2, Donkey Kong, Ghost of Yotei that just came out like this weekend. Which, honestly, there's still good games coming out.
And gamers also piss me off. Gamers honestly piss me off. The amount of like stuff that I've seen about Ghost of Yotei, it's like, guys, just go take a shower, go upstairs from mom's basement, touch some grass, get a girlfriend, touch yourself if you have to. I don't care, but just stay away from the keyboard. Some of you people.
Honestly, yeah, it's ridiculous. It feels like every time a game releases, there's some level of controversy. God forbid the main character is a woman, because holy jeez.
Right?
Like, that game is going to see endless controversy and people picking it apart for literally everything.
For everything.
Like, you can't just let a game be fun and good and just leave it at that. No, we have to have this deeper discussion about some garbage that doesn't even matter. It genuinely infuriates
video games to forget what's happening in real life. Like, I don't need real life bullshit people to bring bullshit to the video game industry, which is an industry that, again, I'm going to predict, Phil and I will talk about it in a couple weeks when we're back full time, that the video game industry is going to implode. We've been, Phil and I, on the It's Canon podcast here on A Plus Productions for years, and I almost want to congratulate myself, but I'm also sad about how correct we've been about everything that's happening with the video game industry.
It feels like video games are always a little bit behind movies, where a lot of the booms like Hollywood has, video games sees it like, a couple years later.
Yeah.
And in the same way that box offices for movies have generally gone down to what they were 5 years ago.
Of course.
I guess we should say 6 years ago, because 5 years ago was COVID. It feels like video games are following like that same trajectory, where a lot of companies have these incredibly unrealistic sales metrics for, where a game has to sell. Because EA considered Dead Space a pretty lukewarm success, enough that they're not going to do a Dead Space 2 remake. But it sold like 3 million copies. So it's like, well, then what is enough? What is enough? And especially games like Assassin's Creed Shadows, where it has an absolutely ridiculous budget with an end credit sequence that lasts literally forever. Like, it does not end because of how many people worked on that game. And it's like, it's no wonder it's imploding. You can't spend $500 million on a game. There's no way for it to make its money back.
No way.
And with games like GTA 6 that are going to like set an ridiculous precedent that only it can succeed at, but everyone else is going to try and follow. Like, I'm genuinely worried about what the next few years of video games look like. Yeah.
Well, if anything, 2027 is going to be an excellent year for the theater.
Yeah.
That's not even next year. Just a sad part. Oh, my God. I don't know.
Although next year, movies are looking pretty good.
Are they? What's on? I don't even know right now. I'm too tired. It's been a long day. Number one, 30 degrees here in Toronto. It's disgusting here in Toronto.
I woke up this morning, it was 7 degrees. Just want to let you know.
Yeah. But it's supposed to drop to like 1 degrees overnight by Wednesday.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Everyone's going to get sick, though, again.
Of course. It always happens.
Right? But yeah.
No, but
so in 2026, what's for 2026 in theaters?
So May, Mandalorian and Grogu.
Oh, okay.
Whether or not that movie is good, it's releasing.
You're right. Okay.
June sees the release of Supergirl, one that I'm very excited about.
Same.
I can't remember if it's September or October, sees the release of Clayface.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I also forgot. July, Spider-Man. And then December is Avengers.
Okay, that's not too bad. But 2027 has Starfighters, The Batman, Doomsday, or whatever it's going to be called, the second one, the next Avengers one. What else do we have in 2027?
Man of Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Man of Tomorrow. God, that's crazy. It's a lot of good stuff coming out. A lot of good stuff. Video games? Who knows? Who knows what video games are going to be? Who knows if we're going to still be wanting to play video games by then? Of course we are. But
I mean,
here's the thing. I'm gonna be a lot more selective, and I have been a lot more selective to what I buy and what I play.
Oh yeah, you kind of have to. I feel like the era of pre-ordering games is over. Like it's just over.
I've been burned too many times. I will never forgive myself for pre-ordering and buying the mega edition of Battlefield when that came out 10 years ago, November 2015.
Well, that's actually crazy.
Yeah,
10 years for
that's
Battlefront.
the year that I bought you guys the PS4 because it was the Battlefield version, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Right?
Wow. Yeah. That feels like so long ago, but at the same time, not that long ago.
No, right? It's crazy.
I've only pre-ordered 2 games ever. Last of Us 2 and Resident Evil 4 Remake. And I did not regret those purchases, but I already knew that I was going to like it when I pre-order it. It wasn't a gamble at all.
Yep. All right. Before we jump over to Peacemaker, there's something I want to do. I want to open up my notes app. I want to look at your latest greatest list. I'm curious what's in this thing. I'm very curious. So every year, listeners, I like buying people what they want, and not even what they need, what they want. When Alex was younger, what I used to do for his birthday was literally take him to a toy store, and I told him he can pick out one toy or whatever, 2 if it's small ones, and usually he went for that deal because 2 is better than 1, and it was whatever. I do that with his brother, my other little nephew, but now because he's a little older, it's like, okay, what's your wish list? Every year he draws up a wish list. And your dad had a good laugh at some of this stuff too, especially some of the items at the bottom. So let me read out what is currently on Alex's birthday and Christmas list. So we have Ghost of Yotei, good choice. Silent Hill F. I'm actually really curious about that game.
I hear nothing but good. Yep. Nothing but good.
Metal Gear Solid Delta, good choice. Black Myth Wukong. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I might actually get that for Switch 2.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm thinking that might be a Switch 2 purchase for me. All right, we got Senua Saga Hellblade 2 for PS5. Very cool one. A Dying Light the Beast. You really like those games, huh?
I really, really like those. Those are like kind of a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it is. The movie. Have you watched the movie yet? No, that's Death.
Which one?
That's Death by Nina. Anyways, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Death Stranding 2, Atomfall, and then my favorite is he's got a controller here with a Amazon link to the specific controller. Your dad laughed at that one so hard.
Listen, I've had my eye on this one for a while.
Yep.
It just recently came out.
And I'm looking at the XLR interface. That's a nice one, actually. That's really nice.
Yeah, I was going to get it when I got this mic, but I thought, the mic and the arm were already a big purchase, and it works with the USB, so I'll just wait a while for that. And then just in time for Christmas.
Good stuff. Very cool stuff. You should create a wish list on Amazon just to make life even easier.
Oh, I do. That's where I pulled the controller and the XLR interface from.
Love it. We should post that on the show notes. No, but seriously, it's really cool stuff. Obviously, I will send you a little something for your birthday, which is coming up. Fuck, it's coming up sooner than I thought. Whew. But yeah. All right, Alex, What do you want to do? What do you want to do about Peacemaker here? I don't want to go too long over the hour. We have episode 4 or 5, 4 episodes to discuss. Want to just do two, and then we can discuss the finale like on its own standalone episode?
I think that'd be good.
All right. So, Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 4, Need I Say Door. This one, let me see which. The craziest part is because I've just been taking my notes, right, as I usually do, copying like some of the descriptions from Wikipedia, but then I also have all my Easter eggs. I'm walking through this, or not walking, reading through this right now. I'm like, man, this feels like so long ago.
Right? So much has happened.
All right. So, Episode number 4 is the episode when Economos tips Chris off about Argus coming. This is the one where Economos knocks Saint Wild from stopping him from killing Eagly. We get a epic fight in the woods between Peacemaker and Judo Master, which was awesome. This is where then Chris takes the device, which I guess it's a mother box of sorts, right?
Or some type of alien device, yeah.
Yeah, which, yeah, it'll be interesting because I have, yeah. Anyways, he takes it to the cabin. Argus is screwed. Flag Senior meets with Harcourt, and he offers her a chance to return to Argus because he knows that there's something going on between the two of them. So if he gets Chris Peacemaker back to Argus, he promises her that she can get back in. This is also the episode where Peacemaker reveals to Adebayo that he wants to move to the alternate dimension because things are just better. Harcourt agrees to Flag Singer's offer, and then essentially Harcourt and Chris plan to meet each other. That's essentially what happened. This is a very much a standalone episode, but honestly, it really sets up the rest of the season, it feels like.
Yeah, like not too much individually happens in this episode. It really felt like the previous episode was more of a payoff of the previous ones. This one, it sets a lot up, and I liked it. I don't really dislike any of the episodes so far, but I definitely felt that this episode by itself isn't as strong. It ties really well into what's going to happen and kind of a continuation of what's happened before, but by itself, it doesn't feel quite as strong. And this is definitely the episode where I felt that the shorter episode runtime this season really hurts these episodes. Because in an episode where not much happens, it kind of ends, 30 minutes in, and it's like, oh, come on, what even happened this episode?
Yep.
It's kind of frustrating.
Yep. All right, let's run through some Easter eggs, then we'll run through the episode 5, run through the Easter eggs, and then we'll talk about episode 5 and kind of few other things. All right, so something of note here is the White Dragon in the comic books. He is a genius. He is smart. He knows his shit. And in this episode, it's revealed that Chris's dad, Augie Smith, actually flunked out of 10th grade science. So where is he getting all this tech from? I kind of like that. I really did enjoy that part of this episode.
Yeah.
What else did we get? They make some Harry Potter stuff. We got Captain Cultural Appropriation and Kung Fu Bulbasaur, which is great. Another Pokemon little thing, but Captain Cultural Appropriation was probably the funniest thing when Economos is fighting with a red Saint Wild.
This episode, honestly, Michael Rooker, he stole the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Rick Flag Sr.'s Clayface injury. Rick Flag Sr. reveals he recently broke his back during one of Waller's missions. You remember where this happened?
Creature Commandos.
I don't think enough people have watched this, to be honest. Everyone should finish listening to this episode. Go and watch Creature Commandos. It is so freaking good.
It's genuinely so underrated. Like, it's just a great show.
Yep. We get a reference to the writer of Peacemaker and Vigilante. He writes a lot of those stuff, and Paul Kupperberg, because Harcourt and Chris are going to meet at Kupperberg Park. Yeah, small little one there. All right, episode number 5. It's called Back to the Future. I really like this one. So this is Chris and Harcourt. They meet up. Harcourt stops essentially Argus from killing Chris. Chris gets arrested. And then they go to jail. Rick Flag Sr. beats the living shit out of him. Economos and Harcourt have a long discussion about actually booking him, putting him in the system to make sure that Rick Flag Sr. doesn't kill him. Now, Alex, my question to you is, do you think Rick Flag Sr. would have actually killed him, or do you think the BS story that he told Bordeaux was just BS or the truth?
Oh, I think he was fully going to kill him there. He was it seemed like with what's going to happen in the next episode, it seemed like he had already decided that he was willing to get rid of Chris because he didn't really need him.
Yeah.
He had ways of finding the door and the portal, so he didn't really need Chris, so he was going to kill him there. I think he hesitated for a moment because Chris didn't fight back at all. Kind of accepted his fate a little bit, or at least just wasn't going to fight back because he knew that
Well,
he
remember,
kind of deserved this.
at this point, he was heartbroken because he believes that Harcourt betrayed him and turned him into Argus.
Yeah. So he's kind of in the slumps, and now, he feels like he can do no right. So it almost feels like if he had died there, he was like kind of accepting that. He was just going to accept
almost.
that. Yeah. And it kind of shows that, like, in his mind, his only solution is really going to the other world. Like, this world, to him, he has no chance of really having a life here anymore.
Yeah. This is where we start seeing the Sacha Bordeaux kind of character really develop, because she stops Rick Flag Sr. from killing Chris, essentially. And you can tell that there's a lot of doubt in her, where they're kind of, I feel like they're really setting up one of two things with Sacha Bordeaux. Number one, she quits Argus and she needs a new gig, and well, Bruce Wayne is hiring. Or something happens at the season finale and Argus is no more, and well, she needs a new gig. Regardless, I think Sacha Bordeaux is going to end up with Bruce Wayne after this season.
Yeah, I think it's funny because with how Gunn talks about how this season sets up a lot of what the future of the DCU is going to be, it's kind of like it makes me want to look at all these characters individually and all these events individually, and like, where do they go from here? What's going to happen? Because it feels like they're focusing way too much on Rick Flag Sr. and Bordeaux for them to just be one-off characters and their story really end here. No, it feels like they're going to continue on, and they're actually going to be pretty important characters in other projects.
And that's the thing. That's the interesting part about this show, right? It's like, I really do feel like, and James Gunn's already said that a lot of these characters are going to be seen in other projects, especially as there's no real plans as of yet for a Peacemaker season 3. But I'm pretty sure when HBO and DC see the numbers, they're going to beg for one. Yeah,
because isn't Peacemaker like the number one HBO show or HBO Max show right now?
Yep. Right now it is.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
All right. Going back to this episode. So essentially Economos puts Chris into the system. Rick Bordeaux stops Rick from killing Chris. Chris gets released to Adebayo. Judo Master follows them. He's working with Rick Flag Sr. And like we had mentioned earlier, Peacemaker Chris at this point says, fuck it, I'm not needed here. I don't want to be here. That other dimension needs me. Yeah.
I just want to add one comment. There's a shot when Rick Flag is beating Peacemaker. He's punching him, and he does this knee to his face when Peacemaker is like on his knees. That actually made me flinch. Like, it was brutal, and it was clear. It was clearly. I
wouldn't be surprised if some of those shots were legit, because, well, I feel like, what's his name? What's the actor's name? Frank Grillo.
Yep.
Where he said that, like, he by accident did hurt John Cena a few times, together.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. He was real. It was an incredible physical performance.
It really was.
But it was an uncomfortable scene. And shot, this one hit took it to the next level of it being genuinely disturbing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the episode ends. Chris does decide to go into the alternate dimension, writes a letter to the other members of the group of the 11th Street Kids. But Judo Master also follows Peacemaker into said alternate dimension. Something that I did leave out earlier was that the episode did start with Rick Flag Jr.'s funeral. And I love how a lot of the internet was speculating who was there, who wasn't there. And then James Gunn is like, look, we got 2 minutes of this funeral at some point. We don't know if it was there hours before, hours after, or what have you.
Yeah. It's funny because it really seems like with every interview James Gunn does, he just doesn't want to confirm anything unless he's 100% sure about its place and everything, because he knows that people are going to pick apart everything. If they choose to retcon something, that's going to be picked apart. So he's just not committing to anything he's not fully sure about right now.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I prefer that than him talking a lot of stuff and then just being completely wrong, right? Or having to change
It's the reason
something.
he didn't commit It's the reason he didn't commit to the little Batman cameo in Creature Commandos. You know, they don't know who's going to be Batman. They don't even know what he's going to look like. They don't know anything about the DCU's version of Batman. So just make them all shadows. Don't give away anything, because they can change it after the fact. They made him bulky, but even that could be changed after the fact.
So, all right. Let's jump to the what do you call it? The Easter egg. So we got the Easter egg of obviously Rick Flag Jr.'s funeral. They also make a lot of jokes about his shitty death and how bad it was and blah 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 blah. Kind of funny there. We also get, hold on, I closed my notes by accident. They talk about the shit detail, like in Evergreen, talking about Project Butterfly. This is Economos kind of talking about shitty stuff. Chris calls Agent Flurry, which is Tim Meadows, Shaft. He liked that. This is the episode where we do learn about Sacha Bordeaux's cyborg status, which again is interesting because in the comics she gets these cyborg implants post meeting Bruce Wayne, but we're convinced that this is obviously pre-meeting Bruce Wayne, and I wouldn't be shocked if that is the case. There's a lot of Argus, because Rick Flag Sr. is looking through a lot of Argus files. If he's looking at a computer screen at one point, and Argus is doing a lot of dimensional testing. They talk about the Metropolis incident and wanting to prevent that. They talk about this greater purpose of Argus, which is interesting because it seems like Argus is really focused on this interdimensional stuff, but we'll see. We talk about Peacemaker, where we see that the Peacemaker and his brothers, or it's not his brothers, his family, take down a kaiju, which was really cool. I love all the kaiju references in this show.
Yeah, it almost feels like them taking down a kaiju is almost like an alternate version of what happens in Superman. So if this world doesn't have a Superman, they obviously took care of it.
That's kind of the illusion there, right? What they were alluding to. Yeah. And it would make sense that this Earth X doesn't have a Superman in the wild. It could be one of those, they're testing on him or something, right?
I wouldn't be surprised. It'd be cool if we see a reference to him, but who knows?
Exactly. All right, so that's episode 4 and episode 5. Alex, so these episodes back to back, really good stuff. Chris has said, fuck it. He's going into the alternate dimension, leaving everyone behind. He's heartbroken. He's sad. He thinks he's not needed in Earth 1. And he has Harcourt, who he thinks betrayed him in Earth 1. And he has a Harcourt in the alternate Earth that is seemingly in love with him. So why wouldn't he want to go into this alternate world? Now, without really getting into episode 6 and 7, which is really hard, but at this point, I was just like, okay, the next episode we're going to be in this alternate Earth. We're gonna are we gonna figure out what this alternate Earth finally freaking is?
I was waiting. Are we gonna talk about episode 6? Are we gonna leave it for another time?
I think we should leave it for another time.
Okay. Going into episode 6, without having watched it before, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for them to say anything. For them to allude to anything of what's happening in this Earth. But really, I was waiting for the reveal. Because at this point, I was convinced. I convinced the way that they had been building up everything to have this world be kind of perfect and awesome. Like, why wouldn't Chris? In episode 5, it kind of feels like, from Chris's perspective, the obvious choice. Yeah, go to this alternate Earth. Like, you're way better off there, And weirdly enough, it seems like you're more put together than the Peacemaker there was. So,
which was interesting.
Oh,
and then so again, without getting too deep into stuff, it's very interesting thinking of his brother alluding to drug issues, to a lot of these issues, interpersonal issues that he may have. It's interesting that the Chris in that dimension is so much worse off than the Chris in our dimension. It's almost that he is the way he is because of everything that's happened to him.
Yeah. It almost feels like a lot of the stuff that's happened to Chris has made him somewhat mature in some ways.
Of a hero.
Yeah.
Right? He's a hero. Like, whether he thinks so or not, whether Argus thinks so or not, whether Harcourt thinks so or not, this guy's a fucking hero who doesn't look at his surroundings and murals in the office.
Yeah, exactly. But episode 6, I was just, because starting with episode 6 were the episodes that James Gunn himself said that, very few people have watched, and they've been trying to keep it very quiet, very hush hush. And this is really where their turning point for not just Peacemaker season 2, but for the entire DCU going forward. This is really when it starts. And it just made me excited to watch it.
Episode 6, we get the big cameo. We get the big reveal of what that alternate dimension is. There's a lot of stuff happening in the next episode that really plant the seeds to the entire DCU.
Yeah, it feels so pivotal, and it kind of makes it a little bit more obvious why they rushed Superman for a home release, because they really wanted people to watch it before watching this episode and before watching Peacemaker season 2.
Exactly. I think that just the home release, in my opinion, was huge and pivotal, like you said. Not only that, but when did Superman get released on HBO Max?
I think it was like a week before episode 6 came out.
It was Friday, September 19th. It was the day after episode 5. Boom.
Yeah. So they basically made it so that as much as they can, everyone has watched Superman. Everyone's watched Superman. They've, digested it. They've taken whatever they can from it. And then you watch episode 6 and you really see how this is a continuation of the same story and the same universe that, Superman was really establishing.
What's interesting is, yes, that is episode 6. And again, not to get into it, but episode 7 then deals with a lot of Peacemaker stuff again, right? Like, I like how they go, they take the zoom out into the bigger universe, and then the next episode, this episode just passed, we zoom back into the Peacemaker world.
Yeah, because as much as this show takes place in the DCU, Chris and the characters around him, they are the focus. Chris doesn't know about all these other characters, or even if he does, he's not really involved with these guys. So he doesn't know about these other characters, these other guys operating in this world. So, but someone like, Argus or these other characters where they're more far reaching, they would. So it does a great job of going back and forth between being very focused on singular characters and then its world. And I really hope to see that going forward with the DCU, because I actually think it's something that the MCU really struggles with, where it almost feels like it's always about the greater MCU.
That's what I've been saying for 10 years, where that's hurt the MCU, because they're constantly trying to make it bigger than it really is, right? They're not focusing on these small world, these small one-off stories.
Yeah. Speaking of the MCU, next week, because we're kind of short on time, you've seen Fantastic Four.
Yes.
We've both seen Superman.
Yes.
We need to talk about those 2 movies.
Yes, we do. We need to do that. That's how we'll geek out in this next episode. We'll do a compare and contrast Superman, Fantastic Four, and we'll jump and talk Peacemaker, episode 6, episode 7, and depending on when we record, we might just dive into the season finale and then wrap it up in a neat little package.
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. Yeah, so there we go. Alex, always a pleasure, always fun. A+Productions.com is the best place to find all things about A+ Productions. We've got A+ Productions and A+ Wrestling. If you want to, you should subscribe to both feeds. But if you're listening to us in non-podcast form, all you need to do is go to your favorite podcasting app and search for A+ Productions. But if you just want to listen to my wrestling shows, search for A+ Wrestling. Always a blast, Alex. Always fun. It's you've been busy, and there's no issue there. You got to do your thing. This is our side gig for fun. But yeah, thank you as always for joining me. And like I said, we'll maybe we can sneak in an episode this week, another episode this week. We'll see.
We'll see. I hope so.
All right. On behalf of Alex, myself, and the entire A Plus Productions crew, thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
Straight to the stars on that flying thing. Getting high, getting snowblind.